Hey, what is up, YouTube? Andrew Rooney here, full-time drummer and drum teacher based right here in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm excited. I got a big smile on my face. Often... Now, the reason I'm so excited is because we're about to check out, and I'm about to share some thoughts with you guys, the viewer, the subscriber out there, on one of my favorite drummers of all time. For me, personally, Steve Jordan. So he was recently on Drumeo playing the Piña Colada Song by Rupert Holmes, which I personally had no idea that he played on that track, but I've always admired it as a great track. And I thought it would be a good launch pad to give some thoughts, some analysis on what makes Steve Jordan so great. And he is great. I mean, just thinking about some of the artists that he has played for. Currently the drummer of the Rolling Stones, as you probably know. Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton, John Mayer. The list goes on and on and on and on. Now guys, as with all of my videos, the original video link is in the description of my video or here. Of course, please do go along, check it out uninterrupted without this bald Kiwi talking all over it. I am going to be stopping the video throughout to give observations and make some notes as we go along and try and get to the core of why this man sounds so good on the drums, especially on pop or rock or funk tracks that on the surface seem to be quite simple. So basically, why does he sound good and why do we not sound quite so good on those kind of grooves? Why does Steve Jordan get hired when someone else might not get hired? We're gonna dig into that. One last thing really quick, the intro on this video is really cool, but we're gonna get straight to the performance, but check out that intro on the original video link. It is really interesting. And also Brandon over at Drumeo offers you the chance to pick up a free 7-day trial at Drumeo. Look, I'm a Drumeo affiliate. I can offer you 30 days free. Go pick it up. All right, with that said, we are in for a treat. Let's check out Steve Jordan playing the Piña Colada Song. Let's check it out. Okay, I warned you that I will be stopping the video. I'm going to stop it straight away. We're only a couple of seconds in. Now, one thing I talk to my drummer friends about regularly, and fellow peers, players, teachers locally especially, you can hear a great drummer within literally a bar. Now, people will think,
what are you talking about? Who do you think you are? You need to hear a bit more vocab. You need to hear some chops. You need to hear this.
Nope, you can hear it straight away. He literally just dropped straight into the groove, straight into the pocket. There's no warm-up time here. We are in. Now, if you're going to be recording, if you're going to be playing at the level of a Steve Jordan, which is 0.00000 recurring zeros, 1% of drummers, you need to drop straight into the pocket. How do you do that? I've made plenty of videos about that. You need to be playing before you play. Talk more about that at the end, but just for now, first point to note is he is straight into the pocket. There is no warm-up, there's no tempo correction, there's no tempo resets to get on the beat or the click. There's no click here, but onto the pocket of the song, we're just in, boom, and we're off. It is not to be taken for granted. It is really difficult. Plenty of even pro drummers struggle with landing like that, and that's why he gets hired. Check it out again. Let's go from the top again. Note length. I was tired of my lady. We're going to talk a lot about note length in this video. Check out, most drummers would play a fill here. Look at what Steve does. I was tired of my lady. No fill, a groove variation, and a big backbeat. Let's check it out one more time. Gorgeous. I was tired of my lady. Back to the pocket. Too long. Like a worn-out recording of a favorite song. Did you hear that big open hi-hat? That's going to be a feature of this track, a feature of Steve Jordan's playing in general. So check out how long, it's just like, I want to say like an awkwardly long open hi-hat. It's not awkward though. It's just a gorgeously long open hi-hat. It's so slinky and relaxed the way he's playing it, because he's actually playing a lot of notes on the right hand, so then he's giving it a lot of air and a lot of breath with that open hi-hat. Check it out again.
The worn out recording of a favorite song.
Oh,
So while she lay there sleeping, I read the paper in bed, and in the personal
that
columns
beater as well.
there was this letter I read. If you like pina coladas,
Okay, now was that a fast fill? No.
I read. If you like pina coladas.
Now you might be thinking,
Well, maybe he can't play in incredibly difficult fills.
no, he can play anything you want. Why did he choose zada da da boom? I think it was a zada da da boom. Let's hear it one more time.
This letter I read. If you like pina colada.
It wasn't even that. Dun da dun boom. So very spacious, right? We've got this relaxed, half-timey kind of reggae type groove going on. Instead of filling up with drum vomit, with drum stuff, he leaves space. It makes it feel really relaxed. He understands the assignment here. One more time. Too good.
Was this letter I read? If you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain. If you're not into yoga,
That's a good one. Check out the open hi-hat splash here.
getting caught in the rain. If you're not into yoga.
Shh. Now, another question for you. If you're watching and you're like,
I don't really see, this is quite a simple groove. I can play this groove myself.
well, first of all, no, you can't. But man, I don't know why I'm so spicy today. It's just that I get worked up when it's someone who is this good at the top of the game. You got to take notice. You got to be humble and you got to think, okay, what is he doing that perhaps I'm not doing? Why does he sound so good?
If you have half a brain. If you like making love at midnight.
Another good one. So short and long. That's a concept that you'll hear a lot about. If you go to music school, well, when I went to jazz school at least, there was a lot of talk and a lot of instruction on short and long. In other words, I guess intonation on the drums, other than being accurate, it's note length. Now, we don't always think about that with drums, because typically on the drums, we would think I hit, and then that's how long the note lasts. However long that hit lasts, that's all I got. No. He's got long notes here in the music that he's dealing with that are really creating a lot of character in the music. So he's choosing short and long sounds. He's ticking away on relatively tight hi-hats during the verse because he doesn't want to interrupt the vocals. But when there is a long note, he's hitting long sounds. Watch here. I think he hits an crashed open hi-hat and a floor tom. Now you might think, well, a floor tom's not a long note because you just hit it and it's done. A floor tom is a long note. Note that he's playing open drums here. There's no muting on the drums. Bung. He's getting a long note out of the floor tom. Let's go back again and pay attention. Think short, long notes and how, as a drummer, you can musically accentuate and be a great ensemble player, add to the ensemble, add to the music, add to the composition. So check out how he phrases these long notes.
If you're not into yoga,
There's one. Such a long note.
If you like making love at midnight.
You can see him almost wanting to buzz on the floor tom. He's embodying the feeling of the long note. Let's one more time.
Have a brain. If you like making love at midnight. In the dunes on the Cape. Then I'm the love that you've looked for.
No long note there. Made a
Right
choice.
to me and escape.
Again, these fills, these non-fill fills. Check out this fill. Would you ever think of playing this as drum fill?
Right to me and escape.
Such a long held fill, and he's not afraid to let that note sit and back in. Also, watch how he's dancing on the kit. This is a big thing, and it's related to what I was talking about at the start of the video, where you need to be playing before you play. He's always moving. He is dancing with the drums. It's not like long note, stop, and then we start the train again. The train never stops. It's always going. It's a really, really important concept to get the hang of. If people are not rushing up to you at the end of gig and saying, holy dude, your groove is insane. Now, that's when you can start thinking, well, okay, well, what can I do to get people to come up saying that? Not only bandmates, but people from the crowd like, oh my God, I've never heard groove like that before. Dude, that was amazing. Like the feel, like the way you play. And that is how people will be approaching Steve Jordan, and that's why people will be hiring him. Now, look, it might seem like I'm really over the top and I'm really zoning in, with a really microscopic view on such small details. None of this, I guess, is difficult to play, or, if you isolate it, you could learn these parts. It's just the overall musical choice and the flow of this. He's playing this live, probably, I actually think this is roughly 50 years. I might be doing Steve an injustice there. This might be 50 odd years after he originally recorded this track. And listen to how well he's playing it. He's got all of this completely under the thumb. Short and long musical phrasing, playing appropriately with the group, phrasing, music. He's not playing drums. He's not playing a drum part. He is playing music. It just happens to be on the drums. Beautiful. Okay, let's have a look at the position of his beater on the kick drum. Now, we are often taught that the beater needs to strike in the center of the head of the bass drum. Now, I'm not sure how big this bass drum is, because that can affect where the beater is striking, obviously. If you've got a huge bass drum, it can be quite hard to hit in the middle because, you can't get the beater high enough. Here, the beat is really high. I mean, it's what would that be? That would be not quite halfway between the top of the head and center. So we're perhaps, let's call it 2/3 of the way up. He is not trying to get a dead sound out of the kick. In fact, he's not trying to get a dead sound out of any part of the drum kit. Again, notice no muting on the drums. Have a think about that. Why would he have no muting on the drums? Why is he playing coated heads? And just real quick, for the grip police, he's playing traditional grip here. You will also find videos of Steve Jordan playing match grip. It doesn't matter. Both grips work. Traditional, matched, whatever works, works. I guarantee you, whichever one of those that you've been playing for a long, extended period of time and practicing with will be most comfortable. And there's a good reason for that. Because you're most comfortable with it, because you've been doing it. Of course, if you completely change your grip and you go,
I've got to play traditional grip to sound like Steve Jordan.
It's not going to work like that. You're going to feel completely out of your element. You're going to be struggling to rim shot. You're going to be struggling to get power. It does not matter. Both grips work. Let's keep it going.
I didn't think about my lady.
Ta-da, boom. How is that for a drum fill, guys?
I didn't
Ta-ta,
think about
boom.
my lady.
Love it.
I know that sounds kind of mean, but me and my old lady
How?
falling into the same old routine. So I wrote to the paper, took out a personal ad, and though I'm nobody's poet.
That's a really, sorry to stop this so much, but I did say, look, we are going to be stopping this because we want to analyze Steve Jordan. We want to analyze one of the best drummers to ever pick up the sticks. He's actually hitting quite hard here. You can tell that from how far the hi-hats are moving. Now, when he does his long notes on the hi-hat, another thing related back to starting, keeping that engine going and starting in time. There's starting at the start of the song, but there's also stops and restarts during the song. Here, this would traditionally be somewhat of a stop and a restart in the song.
And though I'm nobody's poet,
It has quite a long held open hi-hat, right? Quite a long held note. Now, a lot of inexperienced drummers there would go psh, and then stop for a microsecond. Not long, but a stop, and then start again. He never stops. Watch his right hand. It's one kind of long note, but he's still playing the subdivision through the note.
I thought it wasn't and though I'm nobody's poet,
See that right hand moving?
I thought it wasn't half bad. Yes, I like Piña Colada.
Okay, another thing to note, the toms are actually tuned quite high. I bet you if you need to be listening to this with good headphones or good Drumeo in-ears, guys. Are you surprised at how high those toms are tuned? You think of Steve Jordan, he's the funk man, he's the R&B guy, he's the pop guy. Those toms are going to be so fat, man. You've got this image in your head. Listen to how high the toms are tuned. Then you can start thinking, why is toms tuned so high?
Yes, I like Piña Colada.
I mean, that is almost like a bebop jazz high.
Wasn't half bad. Yes, I like Piña Colada.
Quick pop quiz. Why do you think his toms are tuned that high? Is it just, oh, well, his toms just happen to be tuned high? Nope. Everything is intentional here. Everything about Steve Jordan is intentional. You can tell that instantly because his timing is impeccable. Have you got your reason for his toms being tuned high? Because I've got mine. Intonation, and he wants the toms to actually pop through in the mix. He doesn't want glorified kick drums, which is what a lot of toms are these days. Muted to hell, tuned flat, and just I love that sound as well. But I mean, sometimes it's just nice to hear those toms singing and cutting right through the mix.
And getting caught in the rain. I'm not much into health food. I am into champagne. I've got to meet you by tomorrow.
Ah, there's that big long
Cut
note.
through all this red tape. At a bar called O'Malley's, where we'll plan our escape.
It's just perfection. It is perfection.
So I waited with high hopes.
You don't just go dropping a flam like that without me backing it up. You hear the flammage. Let's call it flammage. That is some serious flammage.
So I waited with high hopes.
That is a wide flam too. There is a serious gap between those notes. It's not two separate notes. It is still a flam, but it's about as wide as you can stretch it before you're just getting two separate notes.
So I waited with high hopes, and she walked in the place. I knew her smile in an instant. I knew the curve.
All of this with a big jacket, bracelets.
It was my own lovely lady, and she said, "Oh, it's you." Then we laughed for a moment, and I said, "I never knew that you like Piña Coladas and getting caught in the rain and the feel of the ocean
Ooh.
and the taste of champagne. If you like making love at midnight in the dunes on the Cape, you're the lady I've looked for. Come with me and escape.
All on the hi-hat too. There's no ride part here at all.
If you like Piña Coladas and getting caught in the rain, if you're not into yoga, if you have half a brain, if you like making love at midnight.
caught the vocal phrasing right along that fill. So all of these fills are just slightly different. This one, he's just caught the entire vocal line. Check it out. And all of this is happening in the moment.
I'm the love that you look for. Write to me and escape. Yes, I like Piña Colada and getting caught in the rain. I'm not much into health food. I am into
I think the overall thing to take away, maybe for me from this video, I mean, I already am really familiar with Steve Jordan's style. As I said at the beginning of the video, he's one of my favorite drummers of all time. He sort of breaks the rules. We have in our head this thing of what Steve Jordan is, or what a Steve Jordan type drummer is. If we want to pigeonhole him, we can say, oh, pocket guy, he's the amazing pocket guy, he's the hit maker, but I also have these, I guess, images in my head of like fat. He sounds fat. But he's not middling the kick drum, it's not like a clear kick head with a patch, and it's not like a thwack kick drum, which we would associate with fat pocket drumming. His toms are coded. They're not like the clear, again, that we would associate with like a thwack tom sound. There's no muting on the toms. Can you believe that? The whole kit is completely open. You know what? I bet you it's ambassadors, single ply heads here. I'm going to make a guess that it's ambassadors, snare, and two toms. Perhaps it's emperors. Perhaps there's something else going on the snare head. I'm not sure. So then you can think, okay, well, sound-wise, and those kind of choices that he makes for his style and for what he's going for, which is, well, I was going to say controlled pop perfection. It's kind of past that. You're kind of getting the Steve Jordan thing. You're not getting the pop sound or the CD perfect mastered type drummer. You're actually just getting Steve Jordan. He's kind of just himself. These are gear questions you could ask yourself. How is he doing this? I mean, open drums, we're always taught to, mute our drums to achieve like a R&B pop perfect sound. His are wide open. His are not tuned down. They're tuned high. His kick drum was tuned relatively high. It sounded really tight. I didn't see any creasing when he was kicking. Without going back, I don't know what the deal is with his beater. I bet you it's a Steve Jordan signature drum beater that he's got there, which obviously has like a soft impact. Soft impact for pop and R&B? Why is he taking all the attack out of that kick drum? Something to think about. I mean, I certainly would not be, how could I put this? It would not be my first approach or inclination to be recording music like this and having that type of bass drum setup. I would definitely, I think I would be approaching it more for the thwack. So really, really interesting. He has thought of everything. He's got his thing. He's got his sound, and it is so well crafted, and it is so Steve Jordan. When the video faded out there and the music faded out and you could just hear his raw drums, I'd love to hear this whole track with just him on the drums. It didn't sound like what you would think it would sound like. There's like a bit of a ping in that snare. He's tuning a snare really, really high. Now, I've got a lot of producer engineer friends, and they will talk about subtracting and adding frequencies into, let's say, a guitar part that ensure that it doesn't clash with the other guitar part, or it doesn't clash with the vocals, or it It's not muddy. You know, they've got to raise it up a bit higher than you'd think, cut out some of the mud and make everything really clear and legible and articulate. Articulate is the word for Steve Jordan. I think he's doing that. I think he's actually EQing himself organically. He's not even leaving it to the mix. I bet you the mix engineer gets his drums and goes, I got nothing to do. Volume-wise, this guy has mixed himself in terms of volume, but even EQ, he's EQ'd himself. Then you can start getting into, the really difficult stuff, which is how to actually play like this, like a perfect, beautiful machine. Now, I've talked a little bit about this with Bonham, who's a little bit similar. Greasy. Bonham, very, very greasy player, what we call greasy. Steve Jordan, very, very greasy player, where it's just like, I don't know whether this is straight or swung, or I don't know always what I'm hearing there. Did he just ghost that, or am I imagining it? And then his ghosts are so nice and quiet that they actually sound like hi-hat notes, and then there's just all of this texture out of such a simple drum kit. That's another thing to appreciate. 4-piece drum kit, couple cymbals. He tends to crash on like a big ride, so we get that wide sound as opposed to crash.
Crash.
Everything sort of like the impact is taken out of everything, and we're just like, playing with him. It must be like playing on a cloud. You're just floating. The time is taken care of. The sound is taken care of. All the musical choices are taken care of. And the overriding thing, and the thing that I will leave you with, because I've talked far too much on this video already, I can see my vocal channel there just going crazy. Confidence. Steve Jordan is confident. There's no conflict in any of the choices. He knows the choice that he's going to make. He knows what choice he would make, and he just does it. Just goes with his instinct. He's not thinking long note. I'm going to have the floor tom. It's a long note. That's what he does. There's just no filter. Pure music in, pure music out. He's playing a long note as if he was playing a long note on the piano or the bass. He is a musician first, and everything else second. You can tell with him, the song comes first. The music comes first. The dream ensemble player. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, like button, and leaving a comment. It would mean the world to me to get your feedback. As I did say at the beginning of the video, this was a Drumeo video. I'm a Drumeo partner. Check out my free Drumeo trial, 30 days free to check out the site, see if it's a good fit for you and your musical education, and spoiler alert, it is. If you have a reaction request that you definitely want to guarantee gets on this channel, the only way I can guarantee requests at this point, just with the amount of requests I get via email, Instagram, everything, is via that PayPal link. And that's just to say a big thank you to the people who are supporting the channel. Other ways that you can help keep the lights and the mics on here is you can hit the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, and through that you get access to the blocked videos. All right, I'm gonna go have a lie down now because, it doesn't get any better. Just gonna go think about my life choices on the couch, watch some Netflix. All right, guys, until next time, take it easy, keep chopping wood. Ciao.